Hello YouTube, my name is Plazukas, and today's video is going to be on the Acolyte trailer. It's going to talk about the downvoting, the fact that it's 4-1, but more specifically a broader topic regarding the 2018 shift for the Me Too movement, the social justice warrior movement, the inclusionary movement, the identity movement, and how if we fast forward, we see that there's prominent YouTubers and social influencers that have essentially become very popular and successful by saying that there was a huge overcorrection, that there were um, racist and discriminatory tactics based on Caucasian individuals, and that they were being pushed out of roles, uh, in that to favor more diversity into these movies. And it doesn't mean just race, it could mean obviously identity as well. And obviously, I'm not blind. I've also seen these trends. They're very evident, and it does appear just by a very layman's eye that it was an overcorrection. And so a lot of these YouTubers that called it out were right to do so, and their popularity was understandable. However, if we were to go back to 2018, 2019, at the height of these movements, we could see a lot of people piling on Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube that essentially got their voice heard, and that people that were in positions of power that would normally be technically immune, especially to the law, were called out, and people started to reveal some very deep, dark secrets. And then we had the identity movement, and people started to be very open about their, you know, current struggle with their identity and just their, wanting to be open about who they are. And so that was very successful. That provided a shift in the ecosystem that could potentially make a lot of money. And so the industry went with them, thinking that this trend was going to be more permanent, that this trend was going to be more long term. And to be honest, back then, you could see that because it's rooted in very good intentions, it's rooted in things that I personally believe, in that treating everybody with the same amount of respect and dignity and fairness is extremely important for any foundational government structure, until it became the opposite of what it should have been, where now we see these tactics being used that are similar to the tactics that were used before 2018, in that, roles were being basically taken away from other groups. And so whenever that happens, you have to ask yourself, well, what tactics are being used to do that? And we could see DEI, and we could see firms like Sweet Baby Inc. Coming in and having this very widespread, this very targeted, this very intentional plan. And it does appear to be um, disparaging. It does appear to be, you know, racially charged in some cases, discriminatory. However, come back to 2024, and we see these same social media influencers who are talking about Sweet Baby Inc., talking about Blackwater or Black something, the one that, works with Sweet Baby Inc., talking about Star Wars becoming woke, or the what is it, the she Marvel she you, whatever it's called, the term that they said because they feminized Marvel, I guess. Um, and you see now the piling on of this. So when you have a ratio that's on the Acolyte trailer of 4-1, you may think that's organic. And listen, I don't have any proof that it isn't. Okay, I know how many subscribers tune into Nerdrotic. I know how many subscribers turn into a lot of these prominent YouTubers and social medias that are espousing this narrative. And listen, they have a point. I'm not here suggesting that their points are not valid, but they have a very um, large vocal group, just like in 2018 had a very large vocal group. And these people are very, very adamant The Steam community thing is at like 300,000. That alone is enough for them just to migrate over to the Star Wars Acolyte trailer and downvoted en masse. So these numbers may not be as organic as they seem. They may not be as grassroots as the same. And I could use that analogy in many other things in politics for it not to be grassroots and it just be some kind of big money behind it. And I'm not saying that social media is big money because it isn't. It's just, people that agree with other people. And I know the people that are downvoted and agree that Star Wars is rogue, that the Acolyte season will be basically a woke, propagandized series that involves probably, identity, um, empowerment for women, and maybe even same sex relationships. All of those I'm pretty sure are going to be in the show. How they're woven in, how it's done through the story. There is plot leaks out there, and if the plot leaks are true, I think it's a very good story. I think it's one that needs to be told, and I think it is complementary to Star Wars. Now, whatever else is happening in between and sprinkled, who knows how bad that's gonna feel, if it's gonna feel forced or not. I don't know. And that's why I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to upvote it or downvote the trailer, but I'm still very optimistic. I know what the creator have said. I know what Star Wars has been. I do know Boba Fett. I do know Mandalorian season 3. I'm not blind. I see these things. I see these trends. And to be honest, I can't ignore them. And if I were to use that to inform me, which I should, obviously, I'm not blinded. Again, I keep on repeating myself, but I want to give every show a chance. I already have Disney Plus, so it's not a big deal for me. I'll tune into the show and check it out for 20, 30 minutes. If I don't like it, I'll just tune out and be done. I think, the conversation we can have is that I don't have an allegiance to Star Wars. Is that a bad thing? I'm going to be honest with you. No, it's not. We shouldn't have allegiances to anything anyway. The fact that we do, the fact that we have brand recognition in countries that are capitalistic, that's actually very predatory, very manipulative, and kind of bad, in my opinion. And I think movements like social justice or the opposite side of the narrative that, Star Wars is woke or the MCU, I think those are bad as well. I don't think we should always just pigeonhole ourselves into a certain narrative. We should be more open and allow for the possibility that something may actually be good in spite of all of the signs that it might be bad. And I'm not saying to do that in real life because that could risk you, obviously being hurt. But it's entertainment. I'm not saying subscribe to Disney Plus, but if you have it, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch 20 minutes of it, and if it grabs me the first episode, I'll watch the second episode, and if the second episode grabs me, I'll watch the third. I dipped out on Mando season 3, I think 3 episodes in. Ahsoka like 3 or 4 episodes in. So I have no allegiance to these series. I'll just leave whenever I feel like it's not doing it for me. That's where I'm at. Yeah, and there's been other shows like Game of Thrones that did it bad at 7, 8. And was I upset? Yeah, I was more upset with that than I was about anything Star Wars is doing. But that's personal to me. I mean, obviously. And then Lost. We can look at the last seasons of Lost. Like all of these shows and issues have existed prior to all this other stuff. It's just a different topic and discussion. But that's kind of what I wanted to highlight. I don't think these downvotes are potentially organic. I don't think it's natural. I think it may just be, some of these movements shifting over here and making a statement. Potentially, possibly, speculatively. Take it with a grain of salt. My name is Pazukas. If you like this content, like, subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.